All right, let's solve homework number 2 together. So here I'm going to use Lagrange's method, and if you're interested in Newton's method, you can try these later after class and by yourself. And for Lagrange's method, the first step is we need to find all the kinetic energy. So let's look at this wheel. Is rotating around the center. At the same time, the center of mass is also moving horizontally. So that's why your kinetic energy has two components. One is the linear motion. The other one is the rotational motion. And then the linear motion is described by half mx dot square, and then the rotation motion is half j theta dot square. And because we assume there's no slipping in the system, that means your x and theta, they're directly related. And according to the relationship I gave you during the class, your x dot is just theta dot times the height r. So that's why your x dot can be replaced by theta dot. So everything becomes half mr square theta dot square. And then we can also plug in the j back into the equation. It has 1/4 mr square theta dot square. Okay, so by summing these two together, our t is just 3/4 mr square theta dot square. So that's the kinetic energy. Remember, you have to take both linear motion and rotational motion into consideration. So for the potential energy U, in this case, because the center of mass is always at the same level, so no gravitational potential energy. So all the potential energy are from the deflection of spring. So for the first spring, you have half k s squared. The second spring is half k s squared as well. So, okay, eventually we get k s squared. So we need to relate your s to the theta angle. It's hard to get the displacement in one shot, but we know the velocity relationship. That means the velocity of s equals to theta dot times r plus a. Okay, that's the height. That's the total height of your point s. Because r plus a is constant, we can do integration on both sides so that the dot is gone. We have s equal to theta times r plus a. So replacing the s by theta, we have k r plus a square theta square. Okay, once we have t and u, we form the Lagrangian equation t minus u. So that's 3/4 mr square theta dot square minus k r plus a square theta square. So based on this L, we just need to calculate a lot of derivatives. First, derivative of L with respect to velocity. In this case, it's a rotational motion, so it's the angular velocity. And then only the first term has theta dot in it, so it becomes 3/2 mr square theta dot. And then remember, for velocity, we have to do, for velocity partial derivative, we have to do one more time derivative to convert it to acceleration. So we have the constants in front, and also single dot becomes double dot. And then we also need to calculate partial derivative with respect to position, in this case angular position. The second term is the only place where we find theta, so it becomes minus 2k r plus a square theta. All right, once we have these partial derivatives, let's recall the Lagrangian conservative form of Lagrange's method. So equal to 0. So we just plug all these expressions back into this equation, and then the first term is 3/2 mr square theta double dot minus 2k r plus a squared theta equal to 0. And then as you can see here, 2 negative becomes positive, r plus a squared theta equal to 0. So as I mentioned in class, there are quick ways to check if our solution is correct or not. So because that's a passive system, so all the coefficients should be positive. Let's check it out. You have positive mass, positive, so r squared is positive. So the first term is positive, and then the second term is 2k r plus a squared. So that means your second coefficient is positive. So at least from the coefficient sign, we can tell our equation makes sense. All right.